नमस्ते ऑल ऑफ यू। तो आज हम यहाँ पर हैं फिजिक्स का एक 9th क्लास के लिए एक नया चैप्टर लेकर के ग्रेविटेशन। वॉच इट केयरफुल्ली, इट्स अ वेरी लॉन्ग चैप्टर। आई विल टीच यू इन डिटेल। सो नेम ऑफ द चैप्टर इज ग्रेविटेशन। सी ऑल ऑफ यू, ग्रेविटेशन and this chapter starts with universal laws of gravitation. See, there are two laws related to this. What's this? These laws are, suppose we have two objects in this universe anywhere kept at a distance of r. Mass is m1 and m2. So force exerted in between these two objects, force exerted in between these two objects will be always attractive. In gravitational force there is no force of repulsion. So according to Newton, this is the first law and this is the second law. First law tells that, what first law says? Force exerted in between these two objects will be directly proportional to the product of its masses, its mass, and becomes inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So after combining these two statements, we get F is directly proportional to m1 m2 by r square. So F is equal to g m1 m2 by r स्क्वायर। तो अब हम लोग देखते हैं क्या कि दिस कैपिटल G इज नोन एज यूनिवर्सल ग्रेविटेशनल कांस्टेंट, universal gravitational constant, and its value is to be 6.67 or 6.66 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square. Actually what happens, see, since G is equal to F R square divided by what? M1 M2. It refers Newton meter square kilogram square, refers Newton meter square per kilogram square. This is the SI unit of capital G. Now what is the definition of capital G? Suppose we have F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. Suppose m1 is equal to m2 is equal to r is equal to 1 unit. Then F is equal to G. See all of you. This is another statement. If you are taking m1, m2 and r is equal to unit 1. So try to understand. it will be F is equal to G. So no problem. So capital G is defined as a force. Capital G is defined as a force that takes place in between two objects whose masses are 1 kilogram each and distance is 1 meter. All the units are in SI units. SI units. So now we will go ahead. What's these all the things are? Try to understand all of you. What's these all things? Actually now we are going to discuss about force in between two objects. Force in between two objects. These two objects may be smaller. Two objects smaller, may be smaller. One big and other small, and other small objects. So number 3, both are big. Smaller objects means all those objects which are not heavenly bodies, and big objects means all those objects those are heavenly bodies. So suppose we have two objects, smaller objects, mass is 1 kilogram each. Mass is 1 kilogram each. And suppose both are kept where? At a distance of 1 meter. 1 meter. Let us write it in a very good way. It should be 1 meter. So force exerted in between these two objects will be equal to Gm1 m2 by r square, 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square into 1 kilogram into 1 kilogram by 1 meter square. If you will solve it properly, it comes very less. It is the least, very less amount of force exerted in between these two objects kept at a distance of 1 meter. That's why two smaller objects do not seem to attract to each other. Now suppose one is bigger and second is smaller. Suppose we have two objects. It is discussed. Now one big and other small. Suppose m1 is equal to mass of the earth. m1 is equal to mass of the earth. 6 into 10 to the power 24 kilogram. Other object is of 1 kilogram and distance between them will be equal to its radius of the earth. 6.4 into 10 to the power 6. As we all know that radius of the earth is 6400 kilometer. Convert it into meter and in scientific notation. So after knowing it, put the value. F is equal to Gm1 m2 by r square. 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 into 6.4 into 6 into 10 to the power 24 into 1 divided by 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 meter square. It comes approximately 9.8 Newton. So the earth will attract any object towards its center with a force of 9.8 Newton. Now take another example. What is the another example? Both objects are bigger. So what is this? Both objects are bigger. Suppose one of the objects is the earth. See, other object is the moon. And distance between them is how much? 3,84,400 किलोमीटर. 3,84,400 किलोमीटर. Somewhere we take 3,84,000 kilometer. This 400 kilometer is ignored. 3,84,400 किलोमीटर. 3,84,400 किलोमीटर. Convert it into meter. Multiplying it with 1000. It comes this much. Then after, what you will do? Convert it into scientific notation. So you divide it with 1000. फिर से मैंने 400 किलोमीटर लिख दिया था यहाँ पर. 3,84,000 किलोमीटर. 3,84,000 किलोमीटर. 384,000 into 000 384 into 10 to the power 6. 6 हो गया वहां. अब आप इसको साइंटिफिक नोटेशन में बदल दो भाई. तो 3.84 into 10 to the power 8 meter. So this is the distance between the earth and the moon. Use F is equal to Gm1 m2 by r square. So 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 into 6 into 10 to the power 24 into 7.22 into 10 to the power 22 is equal divided by 3.84 into 10 to the power 8, this much. 2.01 into 10 to the power 20 Newton. After simplification you will get this. See, this data must be correct. If it differs a little bit, no problem, even you can get marks. So this was the explanation related to the force exerted in between any two objects in this universe. Henry Cavendish found the value of capital G, that is universal gravitational constant. Universal gravitational constant remains constant everywhere throughout the universe. No any physical quantity affects it. One more topic is there, very important. How did Newton guess inverse square rule? How did Newton get inverse square rule? What happens? Newton thought that the planet moves around its star in a approximately circular path, suppose whose radius is r. Let the mass of that object is m. Suppose the mass of the you can take even suppose the mass of the earth is small m, and suppose here it is the sun. In Kepler's law, you all know what is the condition. So see, all of you, a special kind of force is needed to keep it moving in this circular path, and that is known as centripetal force. Suppose that force is F is equal to mv by v square by r. Now v is equal to 2 pi r divided by t. So c, sorry, हाँ ठीक है. The value of v is equal to 2 pi r by t. So it will be 4 pi square r square by t square. Now put this value here instead of v. Clear? V square is equal to this. Therefore, now we have F is equal to m 4 pi square r square divided by t square into r. Now you multiply this expression by 1. It is 1. See, all of you. It is 1. So what will happen? It will be like 4 pi square m r cube by r square t square. देखो यहाँ पर r into r square r cube, r into r square, t square is here. So it is now being what it is being. Try to understand. According to Kepler's third law, this is a constant. R cube by t square is a constant. 4 is also a constant, pi square is also a constant, mass is also a constant. So these all the terms are constant. That's why we have F is equal to a constant 1 by r square, and F is directly inversely proportional to this. So this is the inverse square rule given by the Sir Isaac Newton. Clear? So this was the fundamental laws in gravitation. One more thing I will teach here you all. Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Kepler's laws of planetary motion. What is this Kepler's law of planetary motion? Try to understand. Kepler's law of planetary motion is genuinely what? It is genuinely what? See, all of you. Suppose this this is the elliptical path on which the earth is moving. The earth is moving. And the sun will be either at focus 1, the sun will be either at focus 1 or at focus 2. This is F1, this is F2. So either the sun will at F1 or F2. This is the sun. This is the first law given by the Kepler. Law of orbit, it is also known as law of orbit. Second law. What is second law? Try to understand. What is second law? Second law says that suppose we have the sun at focus F1 of the elliptical path. Here it is the sun. And suppose the earth is here moving. Earth. Suppose now it is at A and here now it is at B in the time interval of T. So suppose area swept by, this is the area swept. Area swept by the sun by going from A to B, will be equal if it comes in the same interval of time, from C to D, then this area will be also equal. This area will equal to this area. This is called Kepler's second law of planetary motion related to area swept. Third law is here. See, this is the third law. RQ is directly proportional to T square. RQ is directly proportional to T square. What is this? RQ is directly proportional to T square. Suppose we have an elliptical path. Like this. No, it is not proper, not looking good. Let us change. Suppose this is an elliptical path, doesn't matter, leave it. And suppose the sun is here at focus F1 and planet is moving here. So the average distance of this planet with respect to the sun, this is the sun, average distance, the cube of average distance of the planet with respect to the sun becomes directly proportional to the square of the time period. Time period means to complete one revolution around its star. And it is true for another planets also with respect to its star. So RQ is equal to KT square. So RQ by T square is equal to K. मतलब ये हुआ बच्चों कि RQ by T square is equal to constant, means to say that the ratio between the mean distance of the planet with respect to its star and square of the time period remain always constant. We can solve many numericals based on it. Theme of the chapter I have given to you. Many hidden topics are there, subtopics are there. So all of you, thank you. Keep on watching my video. Thank you all of you.